Santa Clara is working around the roster's edges as the cut-down clock tightens, and the signals point beyond routine August housekeeping. Faithful, lock in! A last-minute signing, a name surfacing on the trade market, a new arrival who has won over the coaching staff, and a battle coming down to tiny details shape tonight's map. Behind the scenes, this defense is being recalculated before the flight to Australia, while one player fights to keep his final impression from becoming his farewell. Subscribe to 49ers Express, and let's decode who is gaining ground, who could arrive, and where the pressure has shifted. The first move grew out of an immediate need. San Francisco reached a deal with edge rusher Jah Joyner after a Wednesday workout, with the door to the Raiders game already closing. This is not a headline signing, it is a contingency move. Nick Bosa remains sidelined with knee tendonitis, Romello Height is working through an ankle issue, and the staff may protect Keon White and Sam Okuayinonu in the preseason finale. When that many players along the same section of the front are managing workloads or physical uncertainty, somebody has to take those snaps. That is where timing matters more than the resume. Joyner spent last preseason with Las Vegas after entering the NFL as an undrafted free agent in 2025. He was waived at final cuts and moved to the UFL's Houston Gamblers. Now he faces those same Raiders, with possibly one game and up to 3 practices to make an impression before San Francisco organizes its practice squad. It is a brutally compressed audition. Learn the names, calls, and alignments while playing fast enough to be remembered. Behind the scenes, the question is not whether Joyner will fix the pass rush. The better question is what his signing reveals about Thursday night's plan and the available depth. The 49ers had already added Viliami Fehoko this week. 2 moves at the same position this close to cutdown suggest the staff wants to protect its most important players without entering the game with an artificially thin rotation. San Francisco must also make room under the 90-player limit. For Joyner, the realistic path is showing discipline while setting the edge and bringing energy in situational snaps. A sack would get attention, but internal evaluations live on quieter details. Hold the edge, handle the assignment, and absorb corrections. This contract gives the team an available body. The game decides whether there is also an option worth keeping into September. That smaller move carries different weight beside a conversation moving around the league. Chicago has discussed trades involving Gervon Dexter, a 24-year-old defensive tackle entering the final season of his rookie contract. Nothing publicly connects the Bears and the 49ers, but the fit deserves attention because San Francisco has a need, a staff with inside knowledge, and a defense that cannot rely on one method of creating pressure. But faithful, this is the part nobody should ignore. Matt Eberflus coached Dexter in Chicago. That connection does not create a negotiation, but it clears away some fog around a trade target. Eberflus knows his habits, where he responds best, and whether Dexter's 6 sacks in 2025 came from sustainable growth or situations unlikely to repeat. That read carries real value in August. The club would have more than tape. It would have first-hand knowledge from inside the room. Dexter offers a tempting idea. His power and burst inside could collapse the space in front of the quarterback and give Nick Bosa a cleaner path off the edge. He is young enough to be more than a one-season rental, but the board has a cost. With Dexter nearing the end of his rookie deal, any pick sent to Chicago must be weighed against the price of keeping him. The Bears have no reason to sell low on a defender coming off his best sack total. Before making an aggressive call, John Lynch has to define Dexter's role. If San Francisco sees an impact starter, a day 3 pick could represent controlled risk. If the projection is rotational, the conversation changes. This roster already spent a 3rd-round pick to acquire Osa Odighizuwa. Familiarity cannot become permission to pay above the evaluation. Still, ignoring the situation would be passive. The 49ers finished last season at the bottom of the league in sacks, and the physical questions around Bosa, Height, and Michael Williams make steady interior pressure even more important. Dexter does not have to be heading towards Santa Clara for the interest to make sense. Chicago only needs to be serious about discussing scenarios, and the price has to enter a range where his age, upside, and production justify the investment. The deciding work will be quiet. Learn whether Eberflus sees another level in Dexter, understand why Chicago might move him, and value 1 year of control. If those answers align, the 49ers have a concrete reason to enter the bidding. Until then, this opportunity is worth working the phones for, not hanging a jersey in the locker room. While one possible target requires investigation, the player already acquired keeps delivering answers. Kyle Shanahan described Osa Odighizuwa as exactly the player the club expected and added what never appears on a trade chart: leadership, non-stop intensity, and effort that genuinely annoys the offensive line in practice. That is a coaching compliment with substance. Osa is not earning trust from one winning rep, he is raising the work around him. San Francisco sent a third-round pick to Dallas for a defensive tackle known for durability. The investment felt aggressive because the roster had other holes, but camp is explaining the priority. Raheem Morris found a veteran who studies, follows a consistent routine, and brings his production into a new system without needing the design simplified around him. Shanahan said the team has made him better, and he has made the 49ers better. That give and take is a powerful sign of fit. On the field, the value reaches beyond his own matchup. If Osa drives a guard back into the quarterback, the pocket loses its escape step. Bosa can attack a shorter edge, stunts have less space to be absorbed, and Morris gains the freedom to manufacture pressure without living on the blitz. For a unit that finished 2025 at the bottom of the league in sacks, that mechanism is not a luxury. It is an attempt to rebuild the identity that once made opponents speed up their decisions before contact ever arrived. There is a difference between winning in August and sustaining it across 17 games. Bosa and Michael Williams are still recovering, and the rotation must turn that interior collapse into finishes. Osa can force an offense to redraw its protection, but somebody has to use the space he creates. The coaching staff has the right professional. The season will tell us whether he can reorganize the entire front. Niners community, take over the comments. Do not judge this trade only by Osa's sack total. Watch how many teammates arrive sooner because he bent the play from inside. The best behind-the-scenes addition does not always own the main statistic. Sometimes he changes who gets the credit. If that effect survives the protection plans of opposing starters, the third-round price will sound less like a bold gamble and more like smart anticipation. From the established weight in the middle of the defense, the camera turns toward a player whose future is being decided by availability, role, and one play that cannot be ignored. Jacob Cowing missed Tuesday's practice with a groin injury and is unlikely to play against Las Vegas. That takes away his conventional final chance to convince the staff. But his case does not begin in the training room. It begins with an 83-yard punt return touchdown against the Chargers, a play that changed the math of this competition. Cowing is in a crowded receiver room dealing with physical limitations. Christian Kirk is managing a calf injury, and a possible short stint on injured reserve could open space for another special teams option. That is why treating Cowing like an obvious cut would be rushed. Return speed and the ability to flip field position matter when the final roster spot is being compared among players who may see few offensive targets. The injury blocks the cleanest answer. Cowing cannot follow that touchdown against the Raiders or show the explosion comes with ball security. The staff will decide using camp, the first 2 games, and its projection for week 1. The personnel question is simple: which job goes uncovered if he leaves? Shanahan expects him back next week. That lowers the feeling of an immediate farewell, but it does not guarantee a spot. The initial roster is a snapshot. Waivers, injured reserve, and outside opportunities will keep changing the picture. Cowing's best argument now is the specific value he has already put on tape. I do not want to turn one spectacular return into a free pass. I want to recognize what it changes. If Kirk starts the year out and San Francisco needs someone dependable returning punts, cutting Cowing could create a problem the front office must immediately solve on the market. Keeping him means betting that his groin responds and that his special teams role earns a place in a tight room. It is a choice between protecting a role and preserving roster flexibility. Inside the building, this type of decision is about roster construction. Who dresses on Sunday? Who covers more than one need? Who could be lost on waivers? That touchdown made Cowing impossible to ignore at the right moment. The injury took the microphone from him before the final sentence. Lynch and Shanahan must finish that sentence without confusing a temporary absence with a lack of value. When the building empties after the Las Vegas game, the most important work continues away from the cameras. Lynch and Shanahan will have hours to separate emergency protection from usable talent, trade interest from a fair price, and one explosive play from an indispensable role. In that silence, a contender gains depth or carries a weakness into January. The standard cannot be the flashiest name. It must be the decision that survives a tightening schedule. Faithful, let me know where you stand. From 0 to 10, how much confidence do you have in this front office to finish the roster? Leave your score, subscribe to 49ers Express, and stay with us for every signal out of Santa Clara.